Hey, hi all, welcome back to the channel again. Today we are going to discuss about custom directives in Angular. So what are the custom directives, right? So custom directives are nothing but a directive only, which is actually a user-defined directive, which allows a developer or you know someone who is willing to develop it to add the functionality of its own thinking, right? So as he thinks, he can add that functionality. And custom directives are actually specific to the HTML elements of the projects, and they are dependent on user actions, user requirements, and changes in data. Okay, so these all things the custom directives are depends on, and there are some features of custom directives. The first and the basic one is nothing but to modify the structure and the appearance of the DOM based on our own logic. Then we have another feature that the event listeners, so we can listen the host events in the directives as well. Now again, there is a modular piece of code we can create, and we can create a reusable code using directives, right? And we can use that particular directive for validation purposes, dynamic styles, you know dynamic DOM manipulation, like adding elements, removing elements, everything. Whatever we think, we can do that with the directives. Okay, and Angular provides us freedom that we can create our own custom directives. So to create custom directive, we need to import ElementRef first of all. Then we have a host listener decorator we need to import in order to listen the host elements events. So let's create a simple directive which is a custom directive. So let's say the requirement is whenever I hover on this paragraph tag, I want directive to change its font size and the color. Okay, so this is the simplest directive which we can thought of giving example for you guys to understand it better. So let's create a directive. So ng generate d custom directive, right? So this is the command which generates us a custom directive with one ts file or the test file. So do not worry about the test file. So we are creating a comprehensive test playlist. So there we will cover everything. So now first ElementRef we need to import. Then we have a host listener to listen the events. Now we need to inject this ElementRef in the constructor. So let's create a private property over here named ele of type ElementRef. Okay, so now this ElementRef contains the reference of the element or the host element on which we are applying this directive. Okay, then we have a host listener. So let's add at the rate host listener, at the rate host listener. Here as a parameter we need to give the event name actually. So let's say mouse enter, and we need to bind this listener to one method in the directive. So let's say on mouse enter. Okay, similarly we need to add another host listener for mouse out event, mouse leave, right? And similarly we need to bind one method again, mouse leave. So these are the two methods actually. So what we need to do over here, we need to take a reference of this variable, the private variable we have. So let's say this dot ele dot native element. So using native element, we are getting the direct access of that DOM element. Okay, using ElementRef. So as we are accessing it directly, we can directly access the style property, class property, everything, whatever the native element provides us. Okay, so let's say style dot color is equals to red, and then again like this ele native element font size uh, style dot font size, sorry, let's say 30 pixels, right? So whenever we hover on it, we need to change it color, and the font size we need to increase. And again, like when we mouse leave out of it, then revert it back to green color, and whatever the font size it has, let's say 24 pixels. Now what I need to do, I need to import this in and add it into the imports array of app.ts, because in the app.ts HTML we are using the directive. So let's import this, and we have a selector over here, apps custom directive selector. So let's use that on this p tag. So let me save everything. Now as you see, the expected behavior is happening, right? So as we hover on that, it actually increases in size and change its color. So this is how we can make use of a simple directive. Now let's understand the same thing how we can do with the renderer as well. But yeah, I mean, by the way, if you want to use the renderer, you need to use the ElementRef as well with it. Okay, so you cannot use ElementRef as a alone. Not ElementRef, but the renderer as alone. So let's import the renderer2 from same Angular core directory. Now let's create another variable called renderer of type renderer2. And by the way, the property name, it's up to you, you can give anything, right? So let me comment these two down, and let's do the same thing with the renderer. So let's say this dot renderer set style, right? So we have a set style method provided by renderer, and here we need to pass this dot ele dot native element. Okay, as the element, then we have a style. So what style we need to change? We need to change the color. And what is the value? The value is nothing but the 30 pixels. Sorry, the value is nothing but a color, red. Now let's add for font size as well. So let me copy this font size, paste it over here, 30 pixels, paste it over here, and let me copy the same thing over here. Let's comment it out. Color will be green now, and font size will be 24 pixels. So let me save everything. So as you can see, expected behavior is there, nothing has changed, right? Just the difference over here is we have used a renderer over here instead of using the mouse ElementRef. Okay, now there is another situation, or maybe for this video we'll just have another requirement. So what is the requirement actually? So instead of calling this directive on p tag directly, what we can do, we can call this on the div tag, and then take the child of it, okay, and create the new p tag from the scratch with the new styles and font size, new color and font size, and then dynamically append it into the div tag. And before appending it, remove the old p tag. Okay, and whenever we mouse leave it, again we need to do it in a reverse order. We need to create the old p tag again and append it, and we need to remove the new p tag. Okay, so for this we can make use of a renderer. Now these two lines will be same, only the thing is we can use the static colors over here, I mean the static values, or if you want to use the dynamic values, you can do that as well. So let's say before mouse entering, or on the mouse enter, before removing the old element, we want to copy the styles of it. So let's create a variable of type record string comma string and assign it as a empty object. Now what we can do, we do have window.getComputerStyles method. So let's use that. Let's create a variable old styles is equal to window.getComputerStyle, and to this we need to pass the native element dot children of 0. Okay, because as I said earlier, we are not calling this directive on p tag. Now we are calling it on a div tag. So div tag has a child, so it will fetch whatever styles this p tag or the old p tag has. Okay, so now we have those styles with us. Let's save those styles in the styles variable. So let's say this dot styles of color is equals to old styles dot color. Okay, now again this dot style of, let's say, font size is equal to old styles dot font size. What we did over here, we have stored the old elements which will indeed gets removed from this parent. Okay, so before removing it, we are copying its styles so that we can apply those styles when we again mouse leave from that container or the parent div. Okay, so now we have stored these. Let's create a p tag now, right? So let's say const p is equals to this dot renderer dot create element. We have method, so let's create a p element now, and to add a text to this p, let's create a text node is equals to this dot renderer dot create text node. Okay, over me exclamatory mark. And then now what we need to append this text node to this p tag. So this, again, we are making use of renderer only. This dot renderer dot append child. Over here we need to give the parent first, then we need to give the child. Okay, so now we have our own p tag created from the scratch with the same text. Okay, we can get this text from the uh, inner HTML out of the old paragraph as well, but as we have the same text, so we don't need to take it in that way. If we have a different text or maybe a tooltip kind of thing, then we can think of taking that from the inner HTML. But now we do have a small text. We will just create it statically. Now we have a p tag created. It's time to remove the old p tag now. So let's say this dot renderer dot remove child. Okay, now remove child, here we need to give the parent, right? So what is the parent? Parent is nothing but this dot native element we have. And what is the child, right? This dot native element dot children of 0, right? Now the third parameter is whether it is a host element which we are removing. We are not removing the host element, we are removing the child element, so let's say false. Okay, so this is how we have actually removed the old element. Now let's add the styles. Before adding, okay, so set styles to p, the newly created styles, right, and to the newly created paragraph tag, and then after that we are appending it to the renderer or the parent, and then we are removing the old child. So this is it we need to do. And after that, whenever we mouse leave it, so what we need to do, on the mouse leave, let's create an old element from scratch. Now we need to copy this all 4-5 lines and we need to paste it over here. And now we are creating the old element as it is. For color, we need to give the value of this dot style dot color, which we actually stored previously. Okay, and then this dot style dot font size, we need to paste it over here as well. So whatever the old font size it is, and then the newly added element we need to remove, and we need to again append the old element. Let's append the old element again. This dot renderer dot append child. Now this time we have this dot native element, this dot ele dot native element, and to that we need to append the p, the newly created p. Okay, the same thing we are doing over here, but here we are regenerating or recreating the old p which was got removed from the mouse enter event. Okay, we are doing the same thing. So let's save everything, go to the browser. Let me see if I get any error. Mouse leave. Okay, let's see. What is happening over here? Children of 0. Sorry, actually this is happening because we did not updated the selector on the div, right? So because the p tag doesn't have any child, so that's the reason we were getting error. So let's update it. I have added it on the div now. So let's see what is happening now, right? So as you can see, the previous behavior we have, but now what we are doing, we are actually creating a p element from the scratch. Now whenever we hover on this, we are creating this red p element from scratch and appending to the div, and we are removing the green p tag at the same time. Okay, and now when I leave the mouse, we are removing the red colored p tag and we are again adding the green colored p tag. Okay, with the different styles. So this is how you can make use of the renderer to create elements. So this is just the example how you create the elements from the scratch. So I am actually trying to explain you some of the functionality renderer offers us. Okay, like if I visit this um, interface, so you can see, or the class, so this class has several methods to use, right? And all those methods are abstract methods, those are actually implemented somewhere else. Okay, and we are actually calling their definitions only, or maybe using their definitions only. So this renderer class has been imported or implemented by any other class, so that we don't know, but yeah, this renderer class has providing us these many methods to manipulate the DOM, right? The DOM manipulation is happening wherever these methods has implementation. Okay, so these are all the methods it provides us, and using these methods we can actually manipulate DOM properly. And using the native element we cannot do this much. Okay, so this is a very useful class, we can say, in order to manipulate DOM in the directives. And there are some features of it as well, and there are some differences as well. So let's discuss the differences between ElementRef and Renderer2. First of all, the ElementRef, which is actually gives us the direct access of underlying DOM element, and then the particular DOM element is available through the native element property, right? So it's kind of a wrapper on top of the particular native element. Okay, and then it is actually useful to perform a specific task. Okay, but we need to perform it cautiously, because there are some security issues, or maybe some platform specific issues can happen. Okay, so to avoid those kind of issues, what we can do, we can make use of the abstract class renderer. Okay, so abstract class renderer provides us an abstraction of that particular DOM manipulation, or for that DOM element to manipulate it. Okay, as we have already seen, there are some abstract methods available inside that. For example, create element we have, create text we have, right? Append child, remove child. So these are all abstract methods, and it is nothing but an abstract class only. and it provides us these kind of methods, and wherever those methods has implementation, there actually we are manipulating the DOM, and it is actually recommended from the Angular as well, to not get some potential security or platform specific issues, because it is perform safer on multiple platforms, and it actually intersect or the interacts with the DOM very safely, we can say. Okay, as compared to ElementRef. And if you write down a code using ElementRef, but then if some browser doesn't give you access, the direct access to the elements or the DOM elements to manipulate it, so in that case you will get some errors. So to avoid those errors, what you can do, you can make use of a renderer. And renderer is actually helps Angular to optimize rendering and detect the changes properly, or change detection cycle. It helps to run the change detection cycle as well. So these are actually features of Renderer2 on top of ElementRef. Okay, and one more actually feature it has, it actually provides, as I said earlier, it provides us a methods and abstract methods, but with that it actually listens to events as well, the DOM events. Okay, not the native elements events, but we can use renderer to listen the DOM events as well. Like if you want to create a directive to drag and drop, right? So there we need to listen, or we need to attach the event handlers to the Windows event and events as well, like drag drop events. Okay, so we can make use of a renderer2 in that case as well. So that is not possible using native element, right? So there are more features renderer2 provides us on top of ElementRef, so it is safer, easier to use the renderer than the ElementRef. But yeah, there is actually a notable point you guys need to note, that to use the renderer you need to use the ElementRef. You have to use the ElementRef. Okay, everything is, because what is the use of renderer2 if you do not have an element in your hand, right? So to take the reference of that element, you always need ElementRef in your directive. Okay, but there are certain things which can perform on the ElementRef, but it is very a crucial or a safer way to do the same thing using Renderer2. So these are all differences and some of the features Renderer2 provides us. And with this, I can say that I hope you have liked this video, right? We have achieved the same thing using the renderer and the ElementRef. And if you like it, so you can share this video with your friends, hit like on the video, do not forget to subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon. Thanks all guys, let's meet in next video.